Hello everybody, MaxMonty1516 here, back once again with a brand new review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Mattel 80th Anniversary Ruby Thomas. So this pack really caught me by surprise when it was first revealed back in January. So for those who don't know, Mattel and the Railway series actually share an anniversary. So this is Mattel's 80th anniversary as well. And to commemorate this occasion, they have basically unveiled this line of products that is like all of their biggest IPs that they own, sort of as little anniversary things. There's like a Barbie doll, there's a Hot Wheels thing, there's a pack of Uno cards, just probably more I'm not thinking about. But this is their Thomas release for that. And I gotta say, I was very excited to see this. And this is my first exposure to the new Mattel Collection 2025 line, because the distribution's been pretty bad in the United States. I haven't been able to find anything other than this. And I had to go to a random local North Carolina store chain to actually get my hands on this. So better late than never, I suppose. Still really happy to finally find some of this stuff and actually be able to talk about the new 2025 Thomas. So yeah, I'll start off with the packaging. This is quite a striking box in my opinion. I have never really seen a Thomas box that is just all red like this before. And honestly, I think it looks kind of nice. It's a little bit bland maybe because there's not a whole lot of decoration on it. But still, I mean, for a special occasion thing, I feel like this does the job pretty well. You've got this sort of like cutout pattern here that's like the Mattel logo, sort of like going around the box. And then you have the Thomas logo, the Fisher-Price logo, and the Mattel 80th anniversary logo right here, as well as the Mattel Collection, I guess, tag. I don't know what to call that, but it's on the side of the box there. It's basically the same decoration that you'd see on any of the All Engines Go or the new push-along Mattel Collection. I don't know what to call this. But anyway, it's there now. And then moving on, to the back of the box, there's not a whole lot here. It's really just, you've got the Thomas logo again, there's a bunch of legal stuff. It says Thomas's name here, and also on the bottom of the box. It's kind of hard to notice. I mean, when you're looking at it like this, you're not even going to see Thomas's name down there. I feel like it would have been nicer, like maybe in the center here, or maybe if they moved this up, then you could put it right there. And make it more prominent, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we still have the Britt Allcroft thing. We've got this little Mattel thing down there as well. You can see I paid 15 bucks for it, which is not great, but not terrible, I guess. Still got the Hit logo there, interestingly enough. But yeah, so that is the box, basically. Not a whole lot to talk about there, but still, it's nice. It's pretty cool. But, of course, I know you all want to see the actual item, so let's go ahead and crack into this thing. Alright, so here is the new Thomas, now unboxed. And, of course, I will start with Thomas himself here and put the trucks in the back for a second. So, here is the first look, sort of, at this new Thomas here, at least on my channel. I gotta say, I'm genuinely really impressed with this. So, the Diecast Thomas line has really been in the trenches for a long time now. And honestly, I don't think it's been truly great in over a decade at this point. Take and Play really started to fall off in 2014. Adventures was alright, but still had a lot of fundamental flaws. Push Along got even worse, and then it became All Engines Go. And now we have this. So this is made by an entirely new design team as far as I'm aware. And it still, honestly, I think looks really cool. There's a lot of interesting changes here. I don't really know where to start. But I guess I'll go ahead and address the fact that, yes, this is metallic. He's got this like really nice sort of vac metal finish on his running board there. It is red, of course. And so, yeah, of course, being the Ruby celebration thing, I like that they made the red part metallic. It would have been nice to see a fully metallic Thomas, but I get what they're going for, and I think it works still. And even then, I guess it's nicer to have sort of this first look at Thomas this way. So, looking at him again, also, he has whistles here. They are gold and very shiny. And I like that the whistles are seemingly separate pieces there, as you can see. You know, he's got all of his, like, major details. His cab is actually open, surprisingly enough. That looks very good. And he's got the separate window, which is also open. Really like that attention to detail. Moving on to, I guess, the side. He's got a splasher here, number 1, lining, all of that stuff. I really like that the splasher is so separated and pronounced. It looks very nice, and I like that we've got the gap there in between the tanks and the splasher. Thomas's smoke box is also pretty interesting. I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but you might see it better in the comparison section. But it is molded in like a weird dark gray for some reason and not black. Like, I don't know if you can really tell, but it's a slightly lighter shade compared to both the coal and the paint on the cab roof. Yeah, so Thomas also has some new wheels here. These are new molds for wheels. They look nice. They're pretty detailed. They got some nice depth to them. And of course, I need to address these side rods. So honestly, I'm kind of mixed on the side rods, I think. Something like this angle, I think they look great. And of course, they're not going to move or anything. They're fastened to the chassis there. But as Thomas goes back and forth, I mean, yeah, that looks super nice. And then you look at him from the front angle, and it's like, oh, yeah, I don't know why they're so large. I get that it might be a choking hazard to make them smaller, and that's probably why they look like this. But from an actual aesthetic standpoint, I don't know how to feel about that. See, not only do they have to stick out and go further than the wheels, but they actually need to be substantial enough so that they don't break off. So I guess, you know, from a design standpoint, I get why it happened. But I mean, if you look at them from like a top view like that, those side rods stick out so far, and it's like, you know, why, right? And that actually kind of brings me into the first comparison I want to make, and that is the Ertl toy. So this is definitely quite the comparison. We have one of the first Diecast Thomas toys and the newest one. There's nearly a 40-year difference in between these designs right here. Of course, this is not the first Ertl Thomas, but it's honestly pretty similar, all things considered. But yeah, I mean, what a shocker. I also forgot to talk about the face here on Thomas, and I think it's really nice. I love the eyes and eyebrow printing. That looks really good. He's also got a painted mouth. Looks really nice. It's kind of hard to see maybe in this lighting, but still looks really cool. I like that he's looking off to the side too. He looks kind of cheeky. He looks kind of mischievous. I enjoy that look on Thomas a lot. And yeah, so I wanted to bring the Ertl one out because it's got the side rods here. And this, I believe, is how you should do side rods on a Thomas toy if they're not going to move. It has a pretty similar build, all things considered. It's just that these are, of course, a lot smaller. They are a bit flimsier. I can actually, like, bend this with my finger, although it's not going to break off or anything. It's just, you know, a lot thinner, so it's going to bend, obviously. And this is not going to happen on the new Thomas. And then, of course, his running board also comes out a bit further, so that does a better job at covering up the side rods. And I think they could have done something like this to maybe make the running board a little bit wider. I don't know if that would have looked the best either, but it is something to at least consider. I also like the addition of the lamp there. That's really cool. It's kind of hard to notice at first when you're taking all this in for the first time, but still, I mean, it's a very nice addition. I like that a lot. And he's also got a back lamp here that's molded, unfortunately not painted. And the back buffers aren't painted as well either, which is a shame. But the front ones are at least, so you take some, you win some, you lose some, I guess. The other major gripe I have with this Thomas is that he doesn't have cab windows. I don't know why they decided to axe them, because the cab is plenty big enough to support having some windows printed on the front there. So, real missed opportunity there, in my opinion. But still, I do like the actual cab size. I think overall, Thomas's proportions are really nice. The one thing I might do is, or at least would if I were, making this, I would have the wheels moved up further. And that's because I wish the front wheel was actually lined up with the splasher like it's supposed to be. It's just a bit too far back in my opinion, and I think it looks a little odd, especially because Thomas looks a little bit back heavy, I guess, because his back wheel here is right next to the buffer, and then there's this large open space here, and I think that could have been avoided if they were to move the chassis up a bit. Although, overall, Thomas is still really nice. I thought the Ertl would be a fun comparison, even though they are quite different. I mean, the side rod on the new Thomas goes right up above the Ertl's running board there. So quite a difference in scale as well. But yeah, overall, still Thomas, I'm very impressed with. Let's look at a couple more comparisons. Something that might be a bit more familiar is the Take-Along Thomas. This is a quite beloved Thomas by many. And honestly, I'm seeing a lot of similarities here. Of course, there is still a 20-year gap between these toys, But still, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of the same sort of design cues, and I think this is a good indicator of where Thomas is going. Obviously, they're not perfect. I've pointed out some flaws I have with this item, but still, I gotta say, you know, we're going back in the right direction at least, and that's a huge positive for me. So, again, I don't really have anything meaningful to say when I'm comparing these two, but I just wanted to show it off because I'm sure people are wondering. I like that the buffers are more pronounced on the new one versus just being kind of like bumps on the take along. There's the faces. Definitely quite a difference there. And then of course this one is ever so slightly bigger. And of course the chassis is much wider. That's because this is still going to fit on Trackmaster track, while this obviously wouldn't. But yeah, this is another comparison here. Definitely the back is interesting to me, at least, because of course this has backlining. This doesn't. I wish it did. I really wish this had some backlining on there. That would have been really nice. And a painted lamp too. That would have really made this thing pop. But also I want to mention the fact that Thomas's bunker and just general like cab seems to be sloped on the sides. It's not a fully perfect 90-degree angle square like it is on the take along. I don't know how well you're going to see this, and you might not even notice it if you're not looking for it, but that's a complaint I wanted to make. It looks off to me for sure. I don't like this. I really wish this would have been like just perfectly angular like the take along one is, but you can kind of see there it slopes up to the top. I don't really know why. It gets thinner as it comes up. Yeah, and it's also the same way with the tanks in the front. You can kind of see that his tanks are sloping inwards towards the face. I don't know. Don't like that at all, actually. But still, quite an interesting comparison between these two. And I will quickly bring up one more item to compare it with, and this is the previous incarnation. This is the 2020 era push-along. Yeah, this is, wow. I mean, seriously, what a difference here. This, in my opinion, is one of the worst Thomas toys ever made. It's actual garbage, and comparing it to this, I mean, it really makes me a lot more grateful for what we have now, even like I said, if it's not perfect. I mean, just look at that. Even the face, I would say, is a major improvement. It looks like it has a lot more soul. He looks more lively to me. And then, of course, you know, that problem with the cab being so smushed, that is gone on the new one. I mean, we actually have the proper cab size and the dome size, and the funnel's a little bit too big, but it's okay. That's another like tiny nitpick, I guess. But even then, it is leagues above this awful excuse for a Thomas. I mean, even the running board is way better. I mean, look at the slope on here versus on this one. It looks so much more natural. And yeah, even the wheels, I think, look a lot more accurate too. And then, of course, on the back, there's just nothing on the back of this one. And, of course, for the sides, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the splasher being way more pronounced. Here, it is very much just part of the design, and the gap just is completely gone. I don't know why. I cannot believe this was actually, you know, allowed to happen, and this was sold for, like, I think 3 or 4 years. This is awful. And I'm really glad that we actually have a Thomas that looks like this nowadays. Like I said, I mean, it's just nice to see the change happening in the design of Thomas. It's nice to see him coming back to his roots finally. He just looks really good overall. And of course, like I said, there are issues with things like the side rod and, you know, the back buffers being painted or not being painted, and the lamp not being painted, and those weird angles on his cab there and tanks. But again, I mean, a lot of this is nitpicks, and this is something I'm looking at way more analytically than most people would. But honestly, I gotta say, I would just recommend this Thomas, especially if you are like me and you can't find a normal one. Then this might just be your best bet, at least for a while before any US stores are able to get the normal ones in. You may have to do some hunting and check out some places you might not usually go to. Like I said, I got this at a general store. So yeah, just keep your eyes open, look around, see. I know these have been found in like railroad museums and other like hobby shops and stuff like that. So it's worth to take a look around, see what you can find, and hopefully this thing is eventually going to make it into more major chains starting soon, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, that's enough about Thomas. Let's quickly talk about his rolling stock. I'm going to keep this section pretty quick overall, just because I've talked a lot about Thomas already. And these trucks aren't really anything special to write home about, but I will, of course, mention them because, you know, they're part of the pack. So this is just a basic recolor of what we've seen in the All Engines Go push-along range for a couple years now. I have one here as an example. So these were sold in a couple packs, I think. I got this in like a 3-pack with Thomas. And it's just a recolor of everything that you see here. The crystal pieces are the same, the truck and the wheels, it's all the same. But yeah, just so you think, just so you know, these aren't new exactly. But of course their color schemes are. I gotta say, huge fan of the silver, looks very cool. I also really like the red wheels and how they kind of match the red rubies. And other than that, yeah, there's not really any detailing other than like the rivets on them. So yeah. Like I said, I like the color scheme. It's pretty cool. And the ruby cargo is removable, although specifically on, I don't know if it's a problem with just mine, but these are really, really hard to bring out. This one especially, this is the first one, it gets jammed in there and I have to like take tweezers or something to try to force them out. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that's just me or not, but beware of that. This one is a little bit more easily openable, I guess, or you can take it out a bit easier. But still, it's very, very difficult to actually pull out, at least for me. I don't know why, but yeah, they are removable, at least. As you can see there, there's like a little peg and a hole here that you can put in, so they'll stay in, obviously. But, you know, they're supposed to be removable. I don't know why. This one barely comes out. I'm probably not going to get it out with my hands, like, just on camera right now. But, again, that is what it looks like, at least. And, you know, there's some playability there if you can actually get them out. But yeah, also here, specifically on this side, I don't know why there's like some scuffs or something. I don't know if they're like rubbing against the car or not, but there's like some missing paint there, I guess. I don't know. Maybe these aren't supposed to be removed. I'm actually not sure, but I would assume they are. They still have the whole mechanism there to be taken out and everything. But yeah, I mean, once you get it in there, it's going to be in there for a while. Either way, though, I gotta say, these trucks are nice, though they're not anything special. And also, another really weird thing is that they still reuse the All Engines Go wheels. And normally I wouldn't really say much about that, but the thing is, they actually have new, smaller wheels in this size, but they have spokes like Thomas does. And you can see them pretty clearly on James and Henry's tenders. So I don't know why those weren't used here. My best guess is that this was probably designed before them. So, I don't know. Maybe they already started producing them with these wheels and just rolled with it. Either way, though, that's basically it for the trucks. Like I said, they're pretty small. They're all plastic. There's not really much to talk about there. Thomas, of course, is the main star of the show. I'm a big fan of him, gotta say. Despite the flaws I mentioned earlier, he's still nice. Just a great thing to have, honestly. And like I said, I cannot recommend this pack enough. Thomas is going to roll away from me now. But yeah, hope you've all enjoyed this review. I have a lot more on the way. I have all of the new motorized stuff that I'm going to be taking a look at pretty soon. So hope you guys are looking forward to that. And I can't wait to get back to reviewing some stuff. So without further ado, thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. This has been Max Monty 1516, signing out.